Okay, got my cheat notes. First off, before we get started today, if you do me a huge favor, go down, hit the subscribe button. That way you get future notifications on new videos I put out. But let's go ahead and get into this. I was asked by a viewer on one of my previous videos. I asked you guys to give me some ideas for videos, and I got a few. So, anyways, from Rampage Impact is his YouTube username. I got the question, what's my opinion on Mojo Decoys, and do I think they're effective? I like them, and yes. Into the video. No, not quite. I do think they're effective, and let me tell you why. I wish I would have gotten some actual footage last year of them being effective, but I didn't because my camera skills are subpar. But I had several instances last year where I had the Mojo set up, and here comes Slobbers again. I had ducks literally hover over the Mojo and wait for me to shoot them, pretty much. So yes, I think they are effective. One thing I learned last year during the season was a different way that I like to set them up. In previous seasons, I was setting them up where I had my hole in the Mojos. Say the wind is blowing from my right to left, and I have the Mojos in front of me here. I have the decoys in front of me here. I would have my far edge of the decoys here, say a horseshoe around, some on the bank or in the reeds where I'm sitting, and the hole here wanting the ducks to come land right in front of me into the hole. Previously I was setting my Mojo up with it to my right, so they would have simulating basically a duck coming in to land in that hole. Well, the problem I had with that, I noticed after a couple hunts, was the ducks were landing, they would come, they would circle, and then they would land behind the Mojos instead of in that hole I wanted them to. So I made a change. I took those Mojos and I moved them to the front side of the decoys, and it worked. The ducks reacted the same way they were before, except for they were landing right in front of me, or they would come right across me, hover on that Mojo. I do have a video where I shot my Mojo because I had a teal just dive bomb through it, and I swung on it and just blasted it. Not this one, it's my mallard drake. I run 3 Mojos, mallard drake, mallard hen, and a teal drake. And then I also have a splasher, lucky duck splasher decoy. That'll be a different video. I'll tell you guys about that and do a little, I guess, maybe review on it. But that's pretty much how I set up my decoys, or my Mojos. I would sometimes try to go out and pull the Mojo. Honestly, throughout the whole season, if I pulled the Mojo, they wouldn't come in. If they weren't coming in, it wouldn't change anything. I know some people, some people say the ducks get used to them. Where I was hunting, personally, I ran the Mojo all year. I would pull it, I would change it up, and then I would go back and I would set it up, and here comes a duck. So, I mean, I like the Mojo. Real quick, I'll show you guys how I actually have it set up, because I've seen a lot of people asking about like extended Mojo poles, and if you go to like Cabela's or another sporting goods store, those Mojo poles for like the 6 or 7 foot or whatever Mojo pole, extended pole, I think those are running like between $60 and $80 or something like that. I'll put the actual price in the video, but that's insane for a Mojo pole to get your duck instead of a 3-foot pole, a 6-foot pole. So what I did was I went to a metal scrap yard. It's called The Yard here in town. They sell, you know, angle iron, scrap metal, all kinds of stuff. As soon as you walk in, you have this guy, which I don't know if you guys can see the whole pole. It's a 6-foot piece of aluminum square tubing. Now the hole in the end is slightly bigger than the Mojo pole hole, so the decoy can get a little loose in there. I mean, there's ways you can change that up. You could put a coating on the base of the Mojo down here to make that a little bit bigger. But I mean, if you can tell, she's a little bit loose in there. I never had a problem with it falling out. And it worked great. It's a 6-foot extension. This cost $1. And as you can see though, it came just raw aluminum. So I did have to paint it. I painted it several times through the year. If I noticed it was getting scuffed up, I would hit it with some like camouflage spray paint, either green or brown, whatever. Another thing with these, what I did, and I guess I didn't do it on this one, but you can drill a hole in the side here, and then you can take your regular Mojo pole, which the detent is all rusty, shove it in that hole, and now you've just added another 2.5 feet to that Mojo pole. The thing about doing this though is it does make it really flimsy. So on really windy days, it would tend to lean over a lot more than I liked. I did lose the Mojo one time. That girl right there, she's been through a lot, but I did lose that, and I was able to find it because I had it set up in this. But I'm talking, it was like 25-mile-an-hour straight line winds out there. So basically, like I said before, yes and yes. I like Mojos. I love them. After this past season, I kind of found a different way. I think, you know, from what I assumed you do with a Mojo, a different way to set it up, and I found a cheap way to extend it. That also, that 6-foot pole, it's light. When I carry, I mean, it is big and kind of cumbersome to carry around, but when I carry it, it goes in my sled, sticking out the back. I drag it through, no problem. It's also a 6-foot depth checking pole. I'll take it out and in front of me, check it. Since it is hollow, if you don't stick the Mojo pole inside of it for a stake, it does fill up with mud. I didn't care. It kind of made it more solid, and it's also aluminum, so I broke one of them in half, but they're $1 for a 6-foot section. So, I mean, if you really want to get more into it, you could fabricate something that's telescoping or comes apart or whatever, but for $1, I'll just paint more. But that's pretty much it. Thank you, Rampage Impact, for the idea on the video. If you guys want to see other things like this, let me know in the comments. Hit the like button if you like the video. I do have a couple more ideas on some gear I use out in the field, out hunting. I actually use it almost every day. You know, if you guys want to see some of the other equipment I take out hunting, let me know in the comments, and I'll try and get those videos up. I will talk to you guys all later. Have a good one.